I was waiting on this center beam piece to come in. For some reason it was missing, so I had to get another one. But anyway, I've got the jig set up here to kind of put pressure on that and keep that. And I've got that cut to size down here and on the other end as well. Drew off where my gusset goes here, and I'll explain that in a second. But as you remember, we tapered this top and bottom piece. And this is a 3/4 by 1 inch block. So it's 3/4 thick, but if you measure this piece here on the upper beam, it's 9/16. So it's a little bit thicker on here than it is here. So I need to taper this piece as well. So that's where the gusset is. So what I'm going to do is run this through the table saw just a little bit, just to try to get that same contour here and to bring the thickness down. So this piece tapers down to be this width just on this end piece, and that's it. So I'll do that, and then the gusset will fit flush. It's either that or we have to build this piece up, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather just knock this down a little bit so we can get it the same thickness. So I've got the blade run right up along the fence, and pretty much I put a little horizontal line there so I could know when I wanted to stop. So I had the fence on the other side to do the this cut, and then I put it over to the other side of the blade so that way I'll get the same little curve there. And I probably should have done this first and then made the gussets, but we'll see what it looks like. So put some plastic underneath all these connections here, marked off where all my gussets went, and basically ready to put down the T88 on all these joints. Kind of made a mistake here. I at the last minute decided to run it through the table saw from a different direction, and when I changed that, I should have put the blade up higher to get more of an arc, more in line with what my gusset's going to be. But I'll make it work. I'll probably fill it in with another little piece of ply just to make it be flush, but it's really structurally not a big deal at all. So anyway, that's all set up in the jig. I've got it inside here where it's warmer, because this T88 doesn't work at lower temperatures. And I've got the stapler set. I'm not going to use weights. I'm actually going to just put a few staples on a couple spots. And I've got these small little cups to mix the T88 in, and some sticks here to apply it. I'm also going to try little pieces of plastic here where the staples go. That should make it easier to pull the staples. I saw somebody post that online, so I'm going to give that a try. And I'll go ahead and mix up the T88, put this all together. So the T88's all dry on this and set. I'm going to remove the last few staples that I have in here. So for these 3/16 pieces that go across here, you remember that this piece is thicker than the other two pieces, so it creates almost like a little bit of a bow here. So what I did is I put glue here, and then this was would be floating up because of the change in height. And then I tacked this one down. I used the plastic again with a staple, and what I found with the staples is it was able to hold that down just fine, but with the plastic, it also gives you a surface when you go to pull the staples, you're not gouging into the wood, and then also the staple is not recessed down into the wood, making it even harder to get the staple out. So the staple size that I used on this one was 5/16, which was fine for this 3/16, but probably a little too much when you're using this plywood for the gussets. I probably could have gone with almost probably half the size for that. So once I had this set down, I came back down to this end and I put the T88 on this piece, and then I just, as you can tell, I just put a board across there with some weight on it just to keep that so it was in contact. You'll notice on that the thickness of this per the plans was 1/16 of an inch down, but these are 3/16, so this will have to be sanded down to taper down to this trailing edge. And then another thing I didn't really like so much, we've got decent lines with the taper coming down through here, but you can tell it rises up because of the gusset itself. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that. I'll probably sand the trailing edge here to make that so it's more of a smoother transition between the two, just the same along with these cross members. But this, we'll use a router bit along here to round this a little bit, and I'm hoping by the time it comes to round this edge here, that'll clean up a little bit, and then I'll probably have to sand a little bit to get on there. Just to cover the mistake I made, I was originally going to use the table saw to just break it down to the thickness of that gusset, so that'd be a smooth transition between here. At the last minute, I don't know why, I set the blade to run it, the piece through vertically, but at the last minute I ran it through horizontally, and that obviously made a larger bite into here. So I just made little pieces of spruce, like little teeth, little shark teeth, just to fill back in that spot. Not really necessary, but I just wanted to have, once I sand this down, I wanted a clean line again, because I was thinking about later when we do fabric that I didn't want to feel that little dimple of wood in there from my mistake. So it would have been fine if I would have just raised the blade on the table saw, so it would have been more of a more pronounced arc than what it has now. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that. Here's the finished product out of the jig next to the vertical tail. So pretty happy for the most part the way that it turned out. So we'll start working now on either the elevators or the horizontal tail. So that's our next project. Just want to show you the jig real quick that we used. So we drew this out, if you remember, and I just used these pieces here at the different locations just to hold the wood in position. And then I rounded a couple of these, as you can tell. So basically you could set the piece in there, and then I would just turn that, and that circle piece would come and push on that piece to hold it tight against the blocking. And I have one down on this end as well. So, but you can see the rudder all drawn out there. So that's it.